Welcome back, everyone, to DPL. My name is Saul. Also joined here by Melvin once again, as we were duoed up last week while waiting for Boxy to return. We've got Rise versus Bingus, and I believe they're just about ready to start their queue, so we'll be getting into their game just momentarily. But Melvin, what are your thoughts moving into this best of one matchup?
I'm hoping that out of the last time we casted, I know the last time I saw Rise, it was a shaky game by both teams. I can't remember who came out on top. I think it was Rise.
Don't
But I
think so.
remember I remember there was a lot of shaky plays made by both teams, so I'm hoping that those have been ironed out in the time since I've last seen them both, and I'm hoping that we see a much closer game, more refined play style. Uh, well, not a refined playstyle, just like tweaks to like some of the mistakes they made. So we're not seeing like some simple mistakes being made. Like they're just like, oh well, we know what we're going to do. No mess ups, straight to the point.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, Rise have not won a single game. They are actually the worst team and have only won 2 rounds altogether in the upper league. So they have not been looking hot. While Bingus, they've been on the come up. Week one, they were a bit on the spottier side, but now that they've had more time to scrim, be communicative and whatnot, and now that the raid has been around for more than a week and no one's playing it anymore, they are playing due process more often as well. So that's always good too. So we'll probably have their main roster up and active. I can actually tell you who's playing right now. Doodler, Marbles, Revenant, Gravy with a very interesting name set, and also Mace. So no Josh today, but their roster still just as good as ever. And Rise, it is, I think it's Digi Merchant, Roby, Adaxi, and then I believe Scent as well. So that's their roster for today, if that is the correct lobby I'm reading. But I think I am.
Yeah. So I don't know what game I'm remembering them, but so I want the underdogs to win. That's my MO. I want the underdogs they're due. That's the rule. They're due. They need to win. That's how that works. And 90% of the time, 10% of the time.
Mm-hmm. Well, we are in the game. The queue has popped, and they are already on Sea Storm, so we'll be getting that up in the screen momentarily once Gundam can actually hop in the game as well, and see what we've got in the books for both these teams, with Bingus on the attack first and foremost here on Bank, and then the defense, of course, is going to be that roster I had just mentioned for Rise. And it's a relatively open lobby. You can get button pressure, so I feel like going for lobby here is a great idea. Only issue, you've got to deal with a couple of long sight lines, but depending on how the door opens up, that could be a problem. You might have to see a full rotate or even a wall charge play by the attack as well, because if you don't have anyone sitting next to the button like this, Melvin, constantly, we will have to see a full rotate go down through hall to actually get inside a vault because how the door opens.
It'd be interesting to see if they use two charges off the bat, or if they. There are times that I've seen this map turn out where they do a full manager push and wall charge into the lobby to hit the button and then go out, so that way they already have that hall control. But then doing that is you're funneling through into lobby, where if they're just set up on teller or there's people in the lobby already, now you've got a new challenge of getting into that lobby. But they've kind of got the defense kind of have set up for both. They do have that barbed wire at the vents just in case. They got a molly prepped. Ralby looks like he's going to be set up in security for some calm plays, but we can see kind of clearly what the attackers want to do. They want to get into that lobby, and we're going to see how they handle those long sight lines. And they're going to have to deal with Robbie, who is going to be shooting at them through the little security teller, which you can shoot through, and grenades can be tossed through. I know some people kind of don't know that or forget that you can toss grenades through.
I remember the other day I was playing with shooting the stuff, and he actually has put his name in parentheses so we can properly pronounce it like Roby, which I find absolutely hilarious. But what is not funny is losing Rev early on. That 5 versus 4 instantly favoring the defense of Rise, but quickly traded back by Marbles. But look at that spray by Merchant playing next to the green tower doorway. Gravy and Noodler now fall because of that team play, and it is now a 2 versus 3. Roby is very low. He could definitely be isolated in the middle of security. I might prefer him to potentially fall back or maybe even double down with some team play if he gets somebody aggressively swinging near Teller, but so far, it's just going to be the patience game here. By the they've got time and the man advantage on their side. And once again, Merchant just holding down these long angles with the big AK is going to make life a living hell for the offense. And maybe at this point, the better call for Marbles might just be to fall back, save the Saber and a Clacker, and that's exactly what he'll end up doing.
Absolutely. Yeah. And when you lose Revenant immediately, you know, it's not like, oh, round's over, it's lost, but, you know, losing Doodler and, yeah, like early, especially when you're lined up for like a nice 2-for-1, Centrayu kind of already got his pick, and Zach kind of sacrificed himself. The grenade to clear the barbed wire got him. But other than that, it was a 1-for-4 or 2-for-4, and now it's just loot. Make sure that, oh, did he actually get the Clacker? Yep, he still got it. But they still have that Saber for the next round, so, you know, it still opens up some options for the attackers to not completely be ruled out. They still got the Clacker, they still have the Saber. I just repeated myself like a tool, but first round is gonna go kind of easily over to Merchant and the squad.
Yeah, it looks like we've got your underdogs already in a pretty decent position. One thing I loved there that I mentioned a few times was Merchant playing those long angles. I don't know if we were able to see from the secondary map obs there, but I actually drew the tiles that it would take for a smoke to actually properly pop off. It's about 4 tiles total. So having that smoke thrown in the middle opening of tellers, that does allow somebody to play next to that green door and just kind of have a small sight line through one of those openings and just to play there with the big AK. That was a really smart play by Rise, especially since they didn't play Mop there. They were probably expecting a smoke just to be tossed in a teller, which is why they didn't bring one out. And it worked out really well. The fact they could have constantly proxied, they had a ton of natural cover, so a lot of their players couldn't get flash properly either. It was just a lot of good passivity and a great job of forcing the offense to just push them on their own terms, really.
And watching how the offense kind of handled going on their own terms, they were promptly put down going onto it's like, well, if they're going to put us on our own terms, we're going to go in and yep, die. That's what we wanted to do. That's exactly what, yep, let's just make sure the Saber gets out, you know, just for safekeepings. But now we're on to Kill House, or every wall is shoot-throughable, just trust us. And a pillbox to cover a red door that we see the attackers kind of wanting to go into. Red being like, okay, we see, you know, Bingus kind of paying attention that if they go through there, we need to kind of be ready for it. Setting up on this locker on that right side of the map. But they are also keeping in mind they could come through checkpoint. Let's, you know, have this barbed wire set up here so we're able to cover this. But it doesn't seem like the attackers want to go through checkpoint or even go on the left side of the map. The main focus for this map by both teams seems to be this right side.
I really don't blame them. It's kind of a funnel if you want to go through back hall, and also you could, of course, deal with this potential of a spawn peek that happens, like between the screen door leading outside. It's very risky, don't get me wrong, but someone could deal some pocket damage and someone swings like this to help out. So just something you'd rather not deal with. But you still got to worry about pillbox, of course, which can actually be taken care of with a well-tossed smoke grenade or just out-dueling your opponent. I think the biggest concern, especially since no one's actually playing directly in pillbox, is just this full auto player. But since he's kind of isolated right now, Digi's very far away. It's going to take him a long time to swing with just that Groover. We might need to see Adaxi either fall back to better play with his teammates or just go for a Hail Mary. Digi's there with the backup. The full auto gone, but still a man advantage with defense because nobody was proactively walking the pillbox for a late swing. That once again allows Merchant to hold down those long angles and give his team that early advantage.
Just watching him creep in there, and I knew what was happening the second I saw him all over the ways when he split up. And Robbie is going to get shot at through the wall there, and no fail. He's still looking pretty good on health. Merchant's the only one that's kind of looking back at shots coming out. Revenant is blocked up by the auto shot. Mace running around. He's going to get Robbie. He's going to get 2. Mace, 1 more left. Can he get Merchant? He gets Merchant. Doesn't even need Revenant. The auto shot into the hands of the attackers. Mace finds 3. And we're clear. go for that bomb defuse.
Well, at least we had the Peach finally bite back, as some would say. Bingus taking round number 2, and it's what I mentioned, funny enough. Adaxi was hard isolated, and I mean, it just took a simple refrag. Mace picked up the full auto, and only really having to deal with Office and then maybe a pillbox play, it allowed for that shotgun to be just so potent. Getting all 3 of these picks so connected to one another, it just was not a good sign for the defense once Adaxi ended up falling. But the early game by the defense was very strong. I just would have preferred maybe this barb to not be placed right here, having maybe Adaxi actually have a barb in his pocket, then late play this, and then just sit
Yeah.
close with the shoddy. That would have been a much better idea, especially since Digi was watching the only other way you could approach if you go for that red breach, but unfortunately, Rise just didn't do it.
And the auto shoddy kind of just strolled into sight. There was no one that really even test fired at it. They didn't really peek at it. Yet someone in pillbox wasn't really looking over at the door, and the other 2 bunched up, and it was like, well, I mean, if you're just gonna let the auto shoddy kill you guys, you know, that's fine. If that's what you want, that's okay. But if that wasn't the plan, why did you let it happen? Like, it just seemed like he was able to be like, hey, knock knock, I have this auto shoddy, I'm trying to return it to you guys, but, you know, the trigger just won't stop firing, and all 3 defenders fall kind of in close proximity to each other, and very quickly.
Well, looks like we've gotten the drawing board here. What Revenant is probably fearing for the worst, just these long sight lines that can be gathered, especially since we haven't seen the mop in play. They've been saving it for C-Store, which is a very odd map to try to mop for, even if we have a shutter play happen. So it's going to be a very risky bet here for Rise to make sure they can actually utilize that mop, have somebody enabling that sniper player, and also making sure they can actually stop the aggressive push by Bingus, because they want to just wall charge open this double shutter, rush into arcade, probably hit the lights, and then just take whatever close quarter gunfights they can, while also having that long range capabilities with the Saber, because they've got mid AK, they've got knack, like they have a lot of stopping power. It's just, are they going to have someone actually try to swing them to let those kills come flying in through?
And having the mop here, I mean, there is quite a bit of cover in the storefront, but I would like to see how Digital is going to play the mop here. I'd be interested if he can pull it off. Fantastic. I just think, in my opinion, there are some long sightlines in certain convenience stores, but me personally, I don't like using the mop in storefront. I think it's too close. I would rather have, you know, AK, and if I need the long range, Ingmar or Legros. But you know me, you and Boxing poke at me all the time. I like the tub, so.
Yes. The never-ending saga of, will we acknowledge the tub being a good gun? It's not bad. I feel like it's kind of like really gross. It's incredibly situational, and it like depends on what playstyle you like. Although the Legros and tub playstyle are 2 very different playstyles, but both
Each have their niche.
Very odd guns to use, especially correctly too. But an early molly, just to waste time. Robbie's kind of playing here to die, especially when Mad Flash is tossed out. The Merchant's there with the reason, allowing Robbie to now have more room to breathe, and actually gets Mace. Shockingly enough, no one overextended to deal with Merchant properly. They were expecting more bathroom pressure, but instead it's just someone playing in the middle of the storefront, and we just have this entire set basically crumbling apart. Thankfully, Revenant is actually going to take the initiative, though, to actually rotate around and try to have something happen, as Adaxi's now fallen. 3 versus 3, but the fact that hasn't been established is very concerning here for Bingus moving into this last minute.
Yeah, and Central has just picked up his fallen comrade's mop, as he does get the hit on Marbles, but not the kill. He is traded. Revenant gonna pick up another. Never mind, oh, it's Doodler that falls to Merchant. Marble's gonna pick up another kill, but he is gonna fall back to Merchant. Merchant and Revenant, kind of the lone figures here. Now they will face an epic saga, which ends with Merchant shooting him point blank with a long AK.
Once again,
nice initiative for Revenant. Sorry to cut you, but like as you kind of brought up, very nice initiative by Revenant to basically be like, hey, we're not clearing the right side, we need to get over there. and he kind of stormed in there and took over.
Yeah. No, I mean, actually changing and not just doubling down on your plan A, that is always nice to see because it's not always going to work out, you know? But I think the biggest issue there was the first off timing and B, I think maybe some of the communication as to who's peaking what. I think because we didn't have anybody clear out arcade for Bingus, that the Saber player didn't want to get too aggressive, so there wasn't really a proper sightline to deal with that player of Merchant. So they were kind of forced just to let Merchant have his way until someone eventually rotated to the right side between storage and office, but it was just a bit late, unfortunately. It still did a bunch for Bingus, and it made it a 1v1 incredibly close. But just the fact that Merchant did so much for his team, him and Robbie in cohorts between arcade and storefront, it was not enough for Bingus, unfortunately, to be able to bring that one back.
Well, let's hope they can either keep the momentum or it swings back to a tie as we swap sides and we go back to bank. And we see pretty much the same kind of play happening here, but we do have. I believe they've exited out, meaning they don't want to do that. I don't think that's going to be that they're going to send someone there, but it seems to kind of be the same setup, so we're going to see if it can be done better or if the same fate will happen to Rise as they storm through the front door and are either gunned down or where they succeed.
Well, it didn't work out all that well for the offense of Bingus last time when they tried just to charge in through lobby, but maybe we'll see something different implemented here. We have someone maybe late rotating vent, which I'm kind of a big fan of, especially if you just want to hit that button early on, then you have to push through accounting, which is just a nightmare to deal with. There's so much natural cover. You have to be perfect on those flashbang tosses. I mentioned that last matchup, and I'll iterate it once again because how strong accounting can be depending on how much the defense wants to actually play around it. But looks like we've got the good old-fashioned gravy strat here with, or Argo strat, as other people call it too. Just the rap plays with the full auto shotgun. That's just the best way to put it. As if no one checks this left corner, this could be pretty successful here for Gravy. But nope, they're gonna insta flash a Merchant. Just runs through the buckley, and Marbles can't refrag. Oh my god! Finally they kill this guy, but Gravy didn't find anything sitting in that corner.
Volatility of the auto shotty as the rest of the attackers are killed even faster than the previous. It either works or you get flashed and it's immediately useless, but it doesn't matter. Revenant can literally just go pick it up and they can use it for another time. And but yeah, Digital does not have the clacker, so it's either dropped out front or one of these unfortunate fellows has it.
Oh,
I believe it's dropped. I believe it's dropped out front. Yeah, I can see it. It's right out here out front. I've zoomed in on it on the map view. Right out
Red's
here.
got one.
Then what the heck has dropped outside? What is that? Oh, is this just a mag? Am I just circling a mag?
I think you are. It's either a piece of debris or like a mag.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. Okay, well, I just made myself look like an idiot in front of other people, but that's what I'm here for. So yeah, so
right.
they get a clacker out of that. They keep the auto, and that could not have gone better for Bingus and worse for Rise. And Digitar almost loses his life, but is able to barely hang on and keep the saber. So unless someone makes a very risky run out play and just happens to look right or left. Look, I don't know my lefts and rights either right now.
That's all right. At least we've got the first half to go get all the fun shenanigans out of the way. Yeah, shockingly enough, I guess they wanted Gravy more or less to be kind of live bait there, which I don't really like blame them. You play in that position to kind of die, just see how much damage you can get away with. But we had both Revenant, Marbles, and I think it was also Maze that were helping out in the middle of.
Yeah.
Yes, it was also Maze helping out in the middle of lobby. So they had a backup plan in case Gravy didn't find anything there, which he didn't. So 1-for-1 trade, not the end of the world. Then they transitioned the full auto over and a clacker, which Gravy didn't even get to shoot a single bullet with the auto because he got full blinded instantly. Merchants ran through the volley. So that was just That was hilarious, seeing Revenant pick up a full shotgun, just like, all right, thanks, Gravy. I'll bring this over for you next round. You can go. We'll bait you again. Same time next week. Same time next
Yes.
week.
I, I, oh man, I'm maybe gonna get canceled for this, but I don't like the auto. Like I think that for me it falls in the same category as the tub or the Legros. It's either really good or utterly useless. Because because you have to play close with it. That's the point. That's where its strength is playing close. But as you saw, if they just flash the doorway, if you're sitting close and just happen to look left or right, you're dead. You are dead. Unless you are the aggressor with the auto shot. You know, if you can beat the flash, rush out and get them, you know, you won't get flashed. But you'll most likely be trading your life for whoever you pick up.
Well, fun fact, we actually have Rise actually tying themselves with how many rounds they've won throughout the entire tournament, basically, in this one match alone. They have doubled the amount of success they have seen in all of their matches, which is something funny to acknowledge. So if they win one more round, they will do better in this singular best of one than they have the entire first 3 weeks of play, or first 2 weeks, I should say. And this is the third and final week, of course, for regular matchups. But yeah, that must be at least some sort of moral boost, despite the fact that they did not clear all that much headway when they were going in through that lobby push. They'll try their own luck moving through the exact same red door into lockers with, once again, Gravy on that full auto, but he's not playing super close. He's not going for like an active run out. He's not trying to bait all that much. He is by himself. Once again, in the middle of pillbox that I completely forgot about because the smoke grenade wasn't thrown perfectly. There was still a small opening here. Revenant may die, but Marble's already found 2, and I mean, they already have plenty of coverage still in the middle of pillbox. A flash may have been tossed out, but that's not going to do anything. It's standing on top of the brown boxes. It's just plenty of time and resources being wasted in just a small portion of the map. They really haven't even done anything except kill one player of Revenant and open up the red door. That's all they've got done so far here, Rise.
And they're still being delayed by these Molotovs, so that means their window for just getting in and doing what they need to do is closing slower and slower. And the auto shotty, Gravy, is going to try again. Round 2. He set some lockers, and he's just waiting. So it's going to back him up. Some shots coming out, getting ready to throw the flashbang. He goes in. Get him there, but Gravy is just going to allow Rusky to walk on by, but is still going to be able to get 2. He picks up Relby and Rusky, and it's just up to Digito, who is just going to flash in and say, you know what, see you later. I've done this before, I'm going to do it again, and see you next week.
Yeah, Gravy also getting blinded from that flash too, but no one looked left. Just nobody was like, oh, clearly, surely there won't be another inside of lockers. That's impossible. Why would anybody be here? And then Gravy's just sitting there with a full auto, and he kills 2. That's just
the fact that even Revenant's like, how did they not, like, certainly, how did they
he's
not?
mauling because he's been watching the map view the whole round. He got first big buff for his team, so he's just been like, how did they let you do that? Yeah, I'm a little bewildered as well. Digi, yeah, having to save. I don't think it was necessary because they already have a clacker. Oh, actually, no, they don't. They have to save because.
Oh, that's right, because they picked up.
Yeah, I'll disregard what I just said. I'm glad I caught that much earlier then. But yeah, at least he's got clacker than Nade. Could be worse, right?
It's like Gravy just sitting there, just jeez, oh god, 1 second, oh, there you are, all right, and just went right back, and like, by the time they realized, oh, there's someone else in the house, like, it's too late. The auto shotgun is coming from inside the locker room. And just another attack that just, it didn't even get to start, really. You know, you had 2 picks immediately from, and then by the time they picked up the pieces, oh, Molotov, okay, we gotta wait. Okay, another wait. Oh, another Molotov, okay. Okay, let's go. And then, you know, they were auto-shotting. So by the time it fully got to start, it was over. So really unfortunate attack round there. I hope that, you know, going into this much closer range, well, not really. I mean, that was a pretty close range map, but hopefully everything is okay going into our C-store set. Hopefully it's not... We're gonna see some, like, inside fighting rather than just everybody dying outside.
Kind of like the idea that Gravy's got here for Teller, because it's going to be pretty challenging to actually, like, clear out all of this, even with this wall charge implemented here for the attack. And that does allow for, once again, Gravy just to kind of shine what he does best, just running at people and shooting them in a pretty funny manner. They also could have Revenant or whoever's sniping. He's actually running the Ingmar. Whoever's mopping here to kind of play with him. Maybe they have the door open, so if Gravy gets flashed, he can fall back as well. Not a bad idea. We're not going to see shutters being opened up, though. Instead, it might be that full commit of a wall charge leading into Teller to then open all of shutters by hitting the button. Not a bad idea, but it is kind of a heavy commitment if they cannot deal with both bathroom and then the storage/office proxy. This could get dicey, especially if you, like, for example, had someone knacking like this. That would just be a nightmare along with this crossfire established. The list goes on, but I don't think we'll be seeing that here by the defense unless they change their mind midway through the prep phase.
And it kind of looks like the defense is set up for kind of what they expected, what they did on attack. Like they're probably going to come through, storefront. They're going to get that wall charge up. But this attack plan that is listed puts a lot of pressure on that mop to kind of be firing at a closer range, so to be a bit faster with how they precision their shots. But I'm scared for those crossfires as well, because now Mace is prepped in the bathroom. So I'm nervous. I'm nervous of this plan. I'm getting the goosebumps.
Say, especially if they're not able to once again deal with Gravy if they don't check their damage. He's got that molly. A nade gets to use to destroy that one set of barred wire. He's got a Daxi actually with that shotgun. Unfortunately, though, no flash was tossed once again, so molly does get wasted kind of prematurely. At least Mace has one in pocket as well, and again, they can play in tandem. Mace can try to bait for his teammate, and then Gravy swings wide. I think they're going to get ready. Here comes the wall charge play, but I think it's on the wrong wall. Gravy's in a rock and a hard space, but look at this play. No one actually checked for him close to office door. You have got to be kidding me, Ryan. How do you let that happen? It just slipped right through their fingers, and now Merchant is just trapped in the bag of offices. You can't let Gravy get away with that stuff. Why was there no flash? Why was there no communication there?
So the first time they checked for him, they flashed him and immediately kill him, right? So they know that he's capable of doing that. But they ultimately lose the round from other crossfires. And they just assume, because of that, for the next 2 rounds, Gravy is never going to do that ever again, and he's a good boy, he's learned his lesson, and we don't need to check our corners anymore. The second they ran past, Gravy just kind of went, oh, excuse me, guys? Okay, I'm just going to go out the hole you just created and kill the rest of your team. I hope that's okay with you. Like, check your corners! Oh my goodness! It's like FPS 101.
Oh my god. It just... I really don't know how they let him get away with that twice.
Are we allowed to get mad? Are we...
I'm a little frustrated, yeah, but it happens. I guess the comms just aren't there, because that's not the first time it's happened either. They have just completely ignored checking certain angles, and that is it. I also think that I don't know if they wanted to change their mind and charge the wall into office or not. I honestly think that was a misplay, because it takes basically 1 flash to fully clear offices, so I don't think you need to wall charge in there to make it an easier push through. That was just misplacement of the wall as well. And yeah, I really have no idea what the hell Rise were thinking that round, but clearly not much, as they let Gravy just demolish them again twice now at this point. So yeah, just not looking good for Rise.
It's like those strats in Siege, right? Where, like, a higher elo player doesn't expect you to do it, and instead of getting mad at themselves for not checking, they get mad at you for doing it. Like, why are you there? What are you doing with a shotgun? Why'd you do that? You're not supposed to be doing that. Silly goose. But it's like, why didn't you just look right? Literally, you would have saved everybody. You would have saved everything if you had looked right. But we're on Kill Dome. It's my favorite tile set, so I'm feeling some serotonin coming back into my body. And Merchant seems to be the only one that's ready to go. He's raring to go. Team follows him late, but we're seeing a pit push, and we're going to see some power being cut out. Are you excited? The power is going to go out. It's going to be great. It's going to be a nice time. We're going to have some glow sticks. It's going to be great.
Well, this is a better map to opt to go for a lights play. I was going to beg the question why no one was going beach, but no, it's just a late rotation instead, so that's not bad. Gravy is going to be very volatile once again in this position because if no one checks him underneath this little bridge that's established in base, then he could probably kill somebody beach if that Saber player eventually drops down, or he could just go run around, swing through green door, and maybe kill somebody as they're trying to hit the lights. Either way, if Gravy is not dealt with properly, this could once again be a very brutal situation here for Rise. They'll have to fall back from a very early deficit. That pop shot is going to miss by the hands of Marvel, but the lights are now hit, and the patience here by Gravy is uncanny, but Robbie just runs at him aimlessly and immediately shuts him down. 4 versus 4, as we did see at least one pick favor the way of Bingus, but hit control, still not blocking the offense. All they gotta do is just castle, which is exactly what's going down. Jeweler falls to a well-landed flash, and we already have marbles dying as well by Digi with that Saber. It's only Rev and Mace. They've got a couple of long angles to play with, but a singular molly to stop a defuse, and that's it.
2 of them are in GAT murdering distance, and there goes Rowby for the very close turret he gets with Gravy. And Revenant gonna exchange fire, but nothing's gonna connect. Digitor is actually pretty low. Revenant and Mace pretty healthy. And they got Sent and Digi to push for this defuse. Running out of time with 20 seconds left. They have to make a move. Flashes go out. Revenant's hit. Mace gets some shots off. Revenant's got the molly prep. He's gonna chuck it. It gets on the bomb. And Central is gonna back up into the Molotov. Digital. Revenant's not gonna get it. Digital merges them all, but for what cost is the bomb?
No one left to tell the tale except for Digi, because I guess the bomb is just not gonna kill him. He's just that built different, sitting right on top of this. But what a strong hold by both Mace and Revenant. That was incredibly well done. The fact that they were able to isolate their opponents so many times in a 2v4 is just shocking, but what a good way to capitalize on it at the very least. Not having that Saber player really get overly aggressive. He was playing for range, which normally you should try to do, but the fact that Revenant just refused to peek him was hilarious, and then we didn't have like multiple people looking down at Mace at the exact same time. Once again, just one by one, trying to give him 1v1s. He's got the KR. It's a way better gun than the AP25, even at that amount of range. So you can't be doing that, especially against Mace.
And he clearly demonstrates why. You know, he shuts down a 4v2 that, yes, they died, and you could argue that, well, they're util, but you know, is wasted, and but like you won the round, you're, you know, a point away from match point. That point, you did what you needed to do. You did what you needed to do for your team. You've secured another point on the board, and in a 2v4. I mean, Rowby getting the pick onto Gravy in the beginning was strange. I thought definitely Gravy was going to get Rowby, but very low he was. But because of how low the other people were able to get him, and his other teammate, it just made it a bit easier for that 2v4 to immediately become a 2v2, and then they could just deal with it as it came.
Well, at least moving into factory, the one advantage that the offense had is that they don't need to deal with the mop, because that was of course dropped by marbles, and because, you know, the bomb doesn't actually kill Digi. He's able to transition over the Saber and actually go and bring it here in a factory, and that's probably why we're having the dot play. You can just watch the bomb from a very far area. Once you get that pressure, you can start, you know, dealing with people near pipe work, especially if you have someone playing next to fan too. So it's not a bad idea by the offense. Personal question though. I did mention the bomb joking for like 80 different times. I'll bring it up another time too. Do you think if you're too close to the bomb as an attacker and you don't defuse it, should you die from that explosion, or?
I think if you're in the main room of it, I think, yeah. So if you were in Pipeworks in the dot, like if you were in Pipeworks and you're like on it, yeah, I think that would make sense. Like you have to get out You know, like with that 10 seconds is there, I think you should get out. If you're outside, I don't know if you're outside, it shouldn't kill you, but like like if you're in the vault and tank as it explodes, like you die. I think that would make sense. We've got source, trust me, for Gravy, the auto shot. Merchant is going to get dropped by Revenant with the Ingmar immediately, and Doc is going to explode. Rowby in boiler, and Gravy is just itching for Rowby to go into office, but Revenant is going to also be dropped immediately, traded for Mace by Rowby, and it is a quick match with shots exchanging all sides. They're creeping up to the fan with the Saber, trying to get a long angle, but nobody is giving him room. Marbles tries to get Central and is just going to get them very low. Now we stall.
Yeah, this is a pretty hefty stall. Not a lot of map pressure. Digi can't do all that much in your fan here until he gets shot by his teammate. I believe the flash did not get anticipated it. But here comes the push in the middle of Pipework. Some pressure being established. A nade kills Boomer, and now Gravy's got to put it. Coming in from the backside, gets rid of Roby. 2 versus 1, but he has the LS and the shotgun to deal with, and that's about it. He might try to full rotate and just start shooting down like this, for example, onto the bomb, but he has got to make this one quick, and he backs up at the worst possible. No time left. He tries to outduel Digi, but just cannot. Maybe he'll win that fight, but Digi's got plenty of damage to cover. And now Adax is trying to win against Gravy, and he does. Full auto now gone as well. No super weapons left for the defense, as it honestly, that play just unfortunately did not work as well as the defense probably expected to.
I am disappointed. My disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined. He told us to trust him. Now he is a liar and a scoundrel. We can't have that in the DPL.
Nope.
He will be removed immediately. I hope all of you understand. I am so sorry. We'll be cutting this cast short. I'm just...
Yeah, no more full auto. Gravy's now in timeout.
Yeah.
They'll have to resort to the tub, or just, I don't know, just a regular gun. Probably the latter, honestly. Graves probably not gonna resort to a tub. There's no way. Not a chance.
It seems like they want to have a vault play. It could be 2 in vault, which, I mean, you're up in round advantage, so I guess you can experiment with this, but do you really want to give, you want to give them some more ground to eventually come back, or do you want to shut this out, It's, I mean, 3 into vents, into security. It seems like they're going to bait entrance. Thank you for writing it out and spelling it out for me. I do need that on occasion.
So I think the biggest thing here is, well, of course, that sightline. I'm wondering if they want to open vault and then just have people play directly in here. But the weaponry for the defense, they've got no Ingmars. They've got some Lagros, so they could use that maybe. But their weapon eco is not that good. So maybe playing more or less for accounting, because that's such a close quarter part of the map, could be a good idea too. I'm not too sure what Bingus are willing to bring out here, because again, they've got 4 SMGs and then they've got Revenant really gross. It's very limiting here for them to go for a play that would work so well.
Yeah, they got the 2 in vault, 2 Molotovs, so that's almost 18-20 seconds of denial. Revenant's got the leg roast, but everyone else is Gruber gang and Knack gang. So Marbles, you didn't tell it, they've dropped down in the loans. Merchant the first down, last friends come out, shots are traded. Marbles is in between a rock and security as he is trying to get out of there. All too late as he is down. Not getting much damage off. Merchant will be traded. Molotov goes into security by Doodler, and he is all secluded from their friends.
Well, good job by Revenant to at least isolate out Merchant, trying to go for some wallbang shots as well. One nice thing about the Gross is that it does have some really good wallbang attacks. You can maybe kill somebody that goes through this green door and kind of funnels. We also have Gravy playing kind of close from there too with the Knack, another great gun to utilize that penetration, but I mean, they don't need to push the counter. The vault door is already open. They just have to keep lobby in their pocket and make sure the defense does not hit the button. But unfortunately, they end up doing exactly that. Gravy's there at the ready. So now Mace is going to have to sit here and time out and hope that we have Gravy and Revenant just kind of pop off for a little while. They've got to pick up the pace, and they're just fumbling with the Gravy right now. Revenant finds 2 as well, back to back. Really gross because no one went out and cleared manager at any given moment. So it's only Digi, and he's not going to be able to probably hit the button there with only the Saber. He might try to go for a different weapon, perhaps. And I really got to beg the question why we never saw this door charge actually be in play. Out of a clacker or something?
I don't believe they took a clacker, so...
Oh my.
I'm gonna... interesting. They're probably gonna pick that up and be completely just as confused as we are. Or they're... No, never mind. It's the round swap. I'm a smart boy, I promise. Source dude, just trust me. But it's 6-3, and we're on match point going into the swap.
I actually, I'm dying to know. Nope, oh my god.
They didn't bring
They didn't have a clacker, man. Oh
so they
my
just
god.
brought it.
They just brought it. Oh,
Might as well, right?
You're the caster, shouldn't you know? No. Ruffle.
Yeah.
God, I love Gravy. I'll probably talk to them later. Have a chat.
Yeah,
Oh
shouldn't
my
you be
God.
keeping track of this? Why did you bring it then, Mr. Professional? Tell me. I just maybe like okay. So the argument for that could be because I maybe you've done this before, but then again, this is casual stuff where hey, they've got a clacker. Maybe if we put it up, they'll clack it for us. Because sometimes that's worked. Sometimes that has worked, and you end up getting a free entry in. You're like, oh my god, they clacked this.
They either didn't have a clacker because they forgot to pick it up last round because they wall charged factory and they won the round, or they just forgot to bring it. Period. Like one or the other. So that was just on them for just forgetting to bring a clacker. But again, if they had clacker, they could have either went for a lobby play, they could have cleared out manager to go for an easy accounting play. It wouldn't have been such a bad round for Rise, I could imagine. But oh well. We're not going to see that, or we didn't see that because there was no clacker.
Yeah, that's like they're gonna message us afterwards. Actually, there was no wall charge, or there was no door charge that we brought. I don't know what you guys saw. Must have been a bug. Like, oh yeah, you're right. There was no door charge. But we're gonna see a full beach push. It looks like from our attacking friends, and Digital is kind of prepped up once again with the mop, ready to unleash justice onto whoever decides to run at them through the beach. So this will be interesting.
He's just watching the top of the ruins, but I mean, once he hears the kick, he's going to go move his crosshair. Yeah, I expect the smoke that Rev has implanted is going to allow for that option. He basically clears several smokes already. Marble charges in along with Revenant. He's not going to establish here the door leading into the castle back to the water is going to be denied perfectly against that moat. Digi gets taken down. It is just a bloodbath. Everyone by Bingus is doing their part in such a big way. And there we have it. 3 players still standing for the attacking side of Bingus as that round just ended out with a large thud. I mean, the aggression, the smokes, the coordination, everything was just good by the attack.
Threw 4 smokes. They threw all 4 smokes. So
yeah,
this had to work.
Digi couldn't do anything. Yeah, Digi could not do anything. So
yeah, that's unfortunate. Once they got through the smokes, it was like, oh, by the way, they're at the button. What do you mean they're at the button? Oh, they're inside. They've killed them. Like it was just such aggressiveness that basically had to win or you were in trouble. But luckily, good communication, well-placed smokes, and a well-deserved win. All hand in hand.
And you know what? This was probably Rise's best matchup in it ever. So at least they ended out the whole event, I guess, having the most rounds that they've won throughout the entire thing just in this one matchup, I guess. I felt like a lot of that was just Merchant backpacking his team, really. Like, we had him getting a lot of those, like, impactful kills. He did have the
Mhm.
most damage. I think it was, like, 1,500 overall now. We had a
1439.
yeah, and then plus the 178. I don't know if that's, like, to total up the 1.4K
Yeah,
or
that's what I
not.
was thinking. I think that totals up to it. So like it was that is
They'll
with
drop
the
they'll
one
drop stats in a
178.
sec,
Yeah.
so it's alright. But, yeah, no, I felt like a lot of that had to do with, like, the backpacking of Merchant in particular. We did have a Daxi and, like, Digi as well kinda do their part too, but I think it was, what, Digi doing most of the sniping there in that matchup? So
Yes.
having, like, the Mop/Saber player, not having more than that amount of damage I is a bit worrying. Maybe they weren't enabling him as much as they needed to some rounds, which I think was kinda true when he was mopping, but
Yeah.
other than
He
that,
didn't have
Bingus
much
just played a strong
support.
game.
Like
Yeah.
that's kind of why he got rushed a lot was because no one was really with him, so he couldn't do what he needed to do. And that's the thing I've actually told Boxy about. Like we know Boxy likes to use the sniper, and I tell him I was like, "You're a really good sniper, but if you're caught alone, and it's kind of for any mopper really, if you're caught alone, they're just going to rush you. The second they realize, oh, no one's near him, you're dead. It doesn't matter how great you are, you will die." And that's kind of what we saw here is that Digi, even though he could connect a shot or two, if he was and there were a lot of times where he was fighting Mace, Mop to Saber, and he would hit Mace, but Mace would headshot him. So even though he got the hit, it wasn't a kill, and he would just get traded out. So shots not connecting and no backup. It was just a very unlucky sniping round for Digital all around.
Well, now that that matchup is underway, we've got one more in the books between the Gnomes versus Global Breakout. But with that matchup ending, that is the end for at least me. I think you'll be joining either Dawn Boy or a Daxi for your other co-commentator, and then also Roach will be switching out for the main producer here. But it's been a blast as always. Hope you all have a great rest of your day, and to see you potentially in the next few short minutes while we get the final matchup of the upper bracket over and out with.